is up? I'm going to get straight into the story time because I do not want this video to be 20,000 hours long. So, I don't know if you guys have seen my first ever Bisbee story time that I filmed on my channel, but I would recommend watching this one first and then watching that one. I was supposed to film this one before I filmed that one, but things happen and I'm stupid and I didn't film it before, but I will leave it in the information thing or down below in the description box. So watch this video and then go check out that one after you're done. So, you might be wondering, if you're not from Arizona or if you don't even know what it is, what is Bisbee? Bisbee is basically a old mining town that was probably established in like the 1800s, somewhere in the 1800s. I don't know like the exact date it was established. Basically, a mining town is when they find, you know, a specific ore and then people flock there, build their homes there, get rich off of mining. That's basically what a mining town is. And Bisbee is actually still running to this day. You can still go there, and obviously it's not the 1800s anymore, but they have a lot of, you know, old stuff. All the old buildings are still very old and original to, you know, old Bisbee. So this is known as a ghost town, probably because, you know, there's a lot of people and people bring spirits, people die, you know, it's just all this stuff. So there's a lot of energy there, and obviously, if you're in a place and you want to start a business that is filled with ghosts, why not make a ghost tour? So there are lots of ghost tours in Bisbee. The two types that I've came across, the 2 times that I've been there, is a golf cart tour, which you know, get in the golf cart, they bring you around to the places, the guy just explains everything to y'all, and that's it. And then there's also the walking tour, which is, you know, obviously you just walk around and the tour guide shows you all the places. So, the first time that I went to Bisbee, I took the golf cart tour, and it was me and my family, which includes me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. And obviously these ghost tours are only at night, so I think it was actually the second day we were in Bisbee, because I think we stayed there for a week the first time we went there. And it was at, I'm gonna guess a time, probably about 8, 9, somewhere around there. It was a pretty late ghost tour. And, you know, everybody just meets up at this one place. They had their trailer that, you know, the ghost tour guide stayed in and stuff, and we would all meet there, get in the golf cart, and go. So that's what we did. And the first couple of stops were, you know, cool. Like, she was like saying like all this like, you know, creepy stuff. And I was staying in a hotel at the time. And I remember we were driving up to the hotel. We were getting closer to my hotel. And I remember just thinking like, oh my God, if she stops, like the tour guide stops in front of this hotel and says something scary about this hotel, I'm moving out tonight or I'm gonna investigate it, one of the two. So she actually stopped right next to the hotel in this other building, and basically what she said, I'm just gonna put it in like a little, like paraphrase it, people like maids, you know, cleaning services would come, clean the rooms, and then for instance like they would put the pillows on the bottom of the bed or something, and then they would be back at the top of the bed, or like they would put something there, they would come around and it's all messed up, like just like small little stuff. They would hear stuff, and nothing really that scary, but you know, just kind of like playful ghosts moving things around. And luckily she did not say anything about my hotel, which I was really glad about. Also, I think my hotel was kind of a new build. It wasn't back in the 1800s, but the, you know, building next to the hotel was old. There were other stops and I can't remember them, but we just really went to a bunch of random places. But one that I remember is there was this park, and we all got out. We were all standing on like the concrete slab of the park or whatever, and the lady was like, so yeah, this is a park, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, yeah, it used to be a cemetery. And I was like, okay, that's just great. Like, I love my life. Basically, the ghost that haunts that park or whatever is a ghost of a little boy, and when it used to be a cemetery, his mom, you know, died and she got buried there, so every single day he would come and visit his mom. And I guess like in the 1800s he died of some sickness that was common of that time. I forgot what she said, to be honest, but basically he died, and when he was he's a ghost now, he keeps coming and visiting his mom. But back in the 1800s, after he died, his mom's body got, you know, transferred to a different area because they were moving the cemetery because they wanted to build a park there, so they moved all the bodies. And he still goes there because he thinks his mom's is you know, still buried there, but she's obviously not. And it's a really sad story, to be honest. But what's creepy about the, you know, park now is that when they were moving the bodies, some of the bodies were not named or marked. So there were a lot of unmarked graves. So they just left the bodies there and didn't, you know, bring them over to the new cemetery, which is horrifying to think, because, like, you know, you're bringing your kid to a park and they're playing over a dead body under the ground. So, but yeah, that was creepy, and I was like still shook that I was standing on dead bodies. So, one thing the tour guide told us when we went to each one of these locations is that in your head you have to tell the spirit, you may not come home with me, you may not come home with us, I don't want you following me home, basically. And I remember I did that a lot because, you know, I like ghosts or whatever, I like the paranormal, but I really don't want any of my own. I already have some of my own, so to bring more into my house would not be good. So I just, you know, kept saying, you may not come home with me, you may not come home with me, every single time we would leave a location. Now, we were at this, like, old schoolhouse, and it's now, like, it's called a Schoolhouse Inn now. It's like a, you know, hotel, and you can rent out rooms, like, you know, classrooms. And it's really cool. I'd recommend. I actually really want to stay there one of these days. I'll vlog it if I go there and stay in that inn. But we were there, and then before we even went there, she was telling us, she's like, I'm gonna bring you guys to my childhood home, and there's so many, like, terrifying stories I want to tell you guys about that, but that's at the end of the tour. So we went to the Schoolhouse Inn, we got back in, we went up the hill. Now in Bisbee, people say it's the closest thing to Italy, without, you know, obviously going to Italy. And the reason why is because, you know, they had the town at the bottom, and then there's houses, like, stacked up on the hill. So, you know, people do live on the, like, city, like, don't get me wrong, they still live, like, you know, down. They live in, like, lofts and stuff like that, but, like, up in the mountains is where people build their houses, where most people that live in Bisbee live, up on the mountains. So, obviously everything is really steep with the mountains, so she's, you know, going up these treacherous hills to get to her old childhood home. Now, as we pull up to this thing, obviously it's abandoned. They haven't been there. She's obviously an adult now. It was her childhood home, so it's abandoned, broken down. Basically, if you think of your, like, cliche horror movie abandoned house, that's what it was. And I want to draw what it looks like. This is what the house looked like. We had stairs going up, the door, the porch, the little sides of the house, windows, and the door. And also, like, it was kind of like that little, like, I think it's called A-frame, A-line house. I don't know. I'm not. But yeah, it looks like a new house, but just imagine it beat down. Nature's growing inside of it, coming out of it. And she was telling us she was standing in front of the house, so, like, she was standing, you know, here, and then everybody else was in front of her. So we are just listening to her stories. One of them is that when she was, like, 10, somewhere around there, like 10, 11, she would, like, wake up at, like, really early times of the morning and just, like, see a woman in white standing at the edge of her bed, and she would just stand there and stare at her for, she said it seemed like hours, but she said it was probably like 10 minutes or whatever, like, not a long time, but she said it felt like hours because this lady was so terrifying. She would, like, hide under her covers, as little kids do when they see a ghost at the end of their bed, in those, like, horror movies. And she would, like, kind of, like, peek, and the lady would just walk out of her room and, like, open the door and be gone. And she said that it went on for a week, but the last day that she saw the woman, she went to go chase after her when she left, and gone, just gone. Sorry. And she was also saying that, you know, obviously she lived in a family. I think she had a brother and a sister, and obviously her 2 parents living in that house, and they had horrible, like, frightening, terrifying experiences as well in that house. And it got so bad to the point that they actually went to the church and asked the priest if they could do, or if he could do, an exorcism on a structure on their house. And so the priest agreed to do it. It was really secretive during, you know, in the city, like, nobody, the family didn't want anybody to know that they were doing an exorcism on their house. On the day of the exorcism, the priest walked up the steps of the house, and on the second step, right before you get to the porch, he got thrown 30 feet back from the house and landed on, you know, the dirt ground. Now, that probably sounds really insane to you guys, and I promise I'm not lying. Like, hook me up to, like, one of those, like, polygraphs right now, like, I'm not lying, because this lady told us that. So, like, if she's lying, then she's lying, but, you know, I'm just retelling what she told us. And obviously, if you were a priest and you went to go exorcise a house and you got thrown back 30 feet from the front of the house by an unknown force, I don't think he would want to stay there any longer. So he got his stuff, left. They were like begging him to stay, bye. So after that, they had no choice but to, you know, live in the house. Right? And when they could finally move, they moved, and they really didn't have any like paranormal experiences after they left. So after she told that story, we were just like all like shook or whatever. Obviously it's pretty scary. And I forgot to tell you guys in the beginning of the video, but there is a photographer like with the tour guide every single time she goes anywhere, just to like take pictures, because, you know, for like advertising, like put it on your trailer, put it around the town, like, hey, come look at my ghost tour, you know, like obviously for their website too. So he just comes around and takes pictures. During the story, I was kind of getting like bored, so I was like looking around, and I looked at the photographer, and he's taking pictures, blah blah blah, and I'm looking at him, and then he goes like this. He goes up to the tour guide and he like interrupts her, and she's getting really angry. She's like, what is it? And she looks at the camera and she like looks up at us and she goes, we have to get out of here right now. Everybody get in the golf cart, everybody go. Everybody like repeat, you know, you may not come home with us, like repeat that while you guys are getting into the car. And everybody gets into the golf cart and we just drive off. Like, and like the photographer is like showing pictures of it to everybody, and he goes to my dad, and my dad gets it, and he looks at it, and I look at it because I'm like, what is it? And I cannot even like I might actually cry, because this terrifies the crap out of me. Like I'm probably gonna start shaking. It terrifies me so bad to the point where I will like legit actually cry sometimes when I'm explaining it to people, because it was the most like terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. And like I believed in demons and everything else before, but like after that experience, I know that they are real. I know that in this world there were things that we cannot explain, things that, you know, are demons in our world. So I see the picture, but there is I kid you guys not, like 9 foot, like a 9 foot black, tall, like horrifying figure, like standing on the porch by the window, and like its face, it was horrifying. So we like speed away really quick after that, obviously, because I would want to get the heck out of there if I was a tour guide. And the whole entire time on the way back down to the city, everybody was like speechless. Like nobody talked to one another. We were just looking around in awe. And once we got dropped off, I remember me and my family went to go eat dinner, and we didn't talk the whole entire time. Like we couldn't even think of a word. Like we couldn't say anything. We were just like so in awe and so like, I don't know, like shook. Like to be honest, we were shook. So yeah, that was this video. I will talk to you guys in my next video, and goodbye.